Hi, this is Circe Olson Woessner. I'm the director of the Museum of the American Military Family in Tijeras, New Mexico, and welcome to our podcast, We Serve Too. It's April, the month of the military child, and so I thought we'd interview someone who is still a brat and who is working on a project which will help brats transition from high school to college and life in general, from brathood to adulthood. And it's our museum's own student liaison, Marine Corps brat, Shanon Hyde. Hi, Shanon.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. So happy month of the military child. Did you take the whole month off to celebrate?
No, that would be nice, but I did not, unfortunately. No, it's been a very busy month. Obviously still pursuing my engineering degree at Penn State. So it's been a lot of coursework, and obviously working on this book has just been so exciting for me, just looking back on my upbringing and kind of the road ahead for brats like myself.
Well, I was going to say, you're coming up on over a year with the museum as our student liaison. You know, you started with us about the same time you started at Penn State. So school's going well. You're still an engineering major. It's everything.
Yes, yes, it hasn't been easy, but I've been sticking with it and been learning a whole lot. Yeah, a lot of stuff I can't wait to share in the book, and just learning a lot about myself in college. It's a lot of growing up that you do.
Yeah, yeah. Our listeners might remember you from some of our audio and video interviews with Mr. Brady and Dodia's 75th anniversary. And then, of course, you know, we did an interview about your podcast, and then you did an interview about me and my podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. So I see on Instagram and, you know, following you that you're still podcasting despite your huge school workload. You know, congratulations on the perseverance. How many episodes do you have now?
This week I'll be publishing the 75th episode, which is, somewhat of a milestone. The one with Director Brady was number 50. And I really love all the museums I do with all the podcasts I do with the museum. They're some of my favorite episodes. And yeah, the podcast is going great. It's slowed down a little bit just because of the coursework, but it's something I really want to stick with. And I take a lot of pride in keeping up with it.
Well, I'm really just amazed. So between school and your podcast and your family moving to another state and this internship and the book.
Yeah, but when I'm going day to day, I don't think about it like that. It's just, you just take care of what you got to take care of. And I really do enjoy doing the podcast. I don't think of it as, something that's I have to do, or, if I wasn't enjoying it, I would stop doing it.
Well, you never cease to amaze me. So tell our listeners a little bit about this book you're working on. We're really excited about it.
Right. I'm also very excited. I've been working on this book for pretty much since I started to get involved with the museum, is whenever we first started talking about this book and a concept of just a resource for military teens moving forward in life, leaving brathood. And I started taking a look at that transformation that I was making, because right at that time I was a freshman in college. So speaking from a place of, expertise wasn't really my style, but I definitely felt like I had a lot of light to shed on that issue, considering there wasn't a whole lot out there. So the book has been quite the journey for me, just learning about myself, especially as a writer. I always consider myself a good writer, but just the sheer amount of writing that goes into a book, it sounds pretty obvious. But once you're actually doing it, you start to kind of critique yourself a little bit more. You start to look a little more in depth of your style, and you are trying to be more intentional. It can be easy just to put a lot of words on the page because you're just trying to get all that bulk down. But, I'm trying to make everything quality, and I'm going to be really happy with the final result.
Well, I know the editing is the most critical part once you get it
Absolutely.
done. Yeah. So I grew up overseas, and so I know when then I moved to college, I had a really tough time adjusting. I couldn't make friends. I didn't know how to manage money or budget my time. I'd never lived in the States. Is that the kind of stuff that this book is going to cover?
Right. Of course, that's going to be involved, but it's a lot more than just, because I could write a book about transitioning to college that could apply to everyone, because everyone, not everyone goes to college, but a lot of people take that step. But I wanted it to be specific to military teens and military kids. And like you said, it can be moving from a foreign country back to the States for school. That's something that's very common. I have a lot of friends who made that move, but it's also taking a look back to what the military upbringing entails, and the lessons you learn along the way that make you better prepared to be an adult. And that's what I've been spending a lot of time on, is looking at whether it's deployments or moving, and really looking into those challenges that we face and what we can take from them to make us better prepared for, becoming an adult and going to college and finishing high school, and whether that makes us better equipped or maybe it puts us at a more of a challenge.
Wow, is this the book you wish you'd read before you graduated and went to would you have done it differently?
Of course, I have to say yes. Of course, of course. Yeah, I don't. Yes, of course, that resource would have been fantastic. I would have been very appreciative. But yeah, I think a big part of it is I'm writing this book for a generation that might not read that much, which is an issue in itself. So I want it to be very conversational, very personal. A lot of it is just, I want it to feel like I'm just talking to them, and that's what a big part of the book is just saying, hey, I want to be someone that's here for you. I want to be someone who has been in your shoes before, very recently, not, you know, 30 years ago. Not that that takes away from other military vets, of course, but just saying, I understand and I want to help you through this. This is what I learned. And yeah, of course, if I had that resource, I would have taken advantage of it.
So is this book for kids that have already graduated, or is this also for kids who are still in high school thinking future plans?
I could see, honestly, middle school brats reading this. I mean, this is about the road ahead. So, I mean, if you already graduated, then yeah, this could apply to you. But it's also a lot of, like I said, that upbringing part and looking at the lessons that you've learned and kind of putting them into action.
Mhm.
And I think the earlier that you read a book like this, the better off you are, because you can go into high school with a plan, you can go into college with a plan. And that's so much of what makes you successful, I think, just in life in general, is having a plan and sticking to your goals, no matter where you are. You should have goals that are bigger than, just whatever location your family might be stationed in. And yeah, I'd like to see all sorts of age groups find something in this book.
Mhm.
And I really think that's possible.
Well, I know there's been some support for your project. You got a grant
Of
from
course.
the Kerr Foundation to help bring it to fruition. It must make you feel good knowing that others see merit in the project.
Absolutely. I was actually very surprised. Not that I don't think that the project is of value, of course, it means a lot to me, but just that, being in this situation and saying, hey, I'm the one doing this, I'm the one behind this, and getting that sort of support, it means a lot. It means a lot to me. And, it's going to be a big boost for me and big motivation to keep up with it and to make the best product that I can.
Right. Well, the Kerr Foundation is in Oklahoma and doesn't know you from, I think it's Oklahoma, doesn't know you from
Mhm.
anywhere, but you obviously have impressed them with, that they gave you a grant. So that's awesome. So now that you did talk about facts and you did talk about factual information, and of course, there's a huge responsibility talking to brats about life. Where are you getting your information about your topic?
Mhm.
I know you're using a lot from your own internal life, but are you working with family? Your mom's a teacher, I think, right? Or subject matter experts? How are you making sure that your writing is factual?
Yeah, well, I consult with my mom sometimes. She wasn't a brat herself, and I think that, personally being a brat goes a long way in that I think that a lot of military kids, a lot of the lessons they learn, they're very anecdotal. It's kind of hard to speak generally about military brats a lot of the time because everyone's so independent in what they experience.
Mhm.
So a lot of the things that I've learned has been mostly through my podcast, and that I've talked to a lot of military kids over the past year and change,
Mhm.
and that I've, picked up things along the way saying, hey, that's a struggle that I had no idea was prevalent.
Mhm.
And even though we live very similar lives. So that's where I've learned a lot. And that's how I need to, I need to take that into account whenever I'm putting this book together, because it's not all about what happened in my life. It's
Right.
about everyone. It's about military brats all over the world and anything you may come across. And it needs to be a book that's suited for all kinds of military brats. It's not targeted to someone who went down my path or just Marine Corps brats or anything like that.
Mhm.
So a lot of anecdotal experiences from other people as well as research. I've found myself taking breaks from writing, just saying, you know what, I need to do a deep dive on this, look at some websites and get a better understanding of what I'm writing about before I publish my thoughts on it. Because that's a big deal to put something out there forever, especially in writing.
Right, right, right. Um, so when can we expect to see the book in print?
Right. I believe the date we have right now is August 1st, which is so soon. It's really excited just to say that date and for it to be not in the very distant future. So I believe that's still tentative, so I can't promise, but
Yeah.
August 1st, let's get it out there. Let's get it in people's hands. Let's get this project to the world.
Yeah, well, once you put it out there in the universe, you're kind of being held
Mhm.
accountable to the universe.
Right. That's why I said it's all about the quality right now. It's about the quality.
So when you were sitting in English class at Kubasaki High School, did you ever in a million years think only a few years later you'd be writing a book? And would your English teacher have imagined you writing a book, being an author?
Um, That's a tough one. I don't remember what I was thinking about in most English classes. It probably wasn't about English, unfortunately. Um, I'm sure, I mean, I was a good student. Don't get me wrong, very good student in high school. But my English teacher, I had a great relationship with my English teacher my junior year. Like I said, I was a good writer, but writing a book is definitely a step beyond what I ever had expected for myself.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely wanted to keep writing as I got older, but this project it's a great opportunity for me to learn, a great opportunity to show some of my talents as well. So I think I've come a long way since high school, at least I would like to think so. And yeah, I hope to make everyone, including my English teacher, proud.
So I know at the end of the year, you're going to be leaving the museum as the student liaison. So what's next for you after this?
Well, I want to continue with the podcast. Obviously, I'm going to stay in touch with the museum, of course. Would love to do some more podcasts together at some point, keep that relationship going because of all the great opportunities I've had here. I really appreciate my time working with you and the rest of the board and being involved. But yeah, I want to pursue and complete my aerospace engineering degree that I mentioned earlier. It's going to be, big challenge ahead going into my junior year. Going to have some really cool opportunities. I hope to get an internship next summer, something aerospace related. Hopefully down in Florida would be nice. And yeah, I'm going to be graduating, hopefully starting a career. I mean, it's hard to talk about, but yeah, it's one day at a time right now, one day at a time.
Well, whatever you do, I'm sure you're going to do it well. You definitely impressed me with your, your accomplishments and your intuitions and things like that. I'm
I
also going
appreciate
to,
it.
yeah, I'm also going to miss your managing our Instagram account.
I've done too much of that recently, but
That
yes.
Instagram account is frightening to me, and you seem to just like do it great. So, yeah. So I have a question. You've been out of brat life for a while. I know you're still a brat, but you've been in the civilian community forever. So now how do you answer this question? Where are you from? Has it changed?
There is there really an answer for it? I think is the
Well,
follow-up
every
question.
person you run into's got to ask where you're from. And so now that
Oh, especially in college.
oh,
Yes.
yeah. So what do you say?
Usually I try to move on with the conversation. I'll just say Florida, even though I have never really lived there for any extended amount of time. But that's where I go for the summers and everything. That's where my family is. And I think that wherever my family is always going to be home to me, no matter where they are. That's what the definition has always been for me. It's wherever the house we are at the time is. And I've never really been in a place long enough, like most military brats, to feel a strong connection that that place is my home, no matter if I'm there or not. So I think that's just gonna be something I'm gonna live with. Is where my family is. That's where I belong.
Well, that's what I just interviewed a guy not too long ago, and he said
Mhm,
the same thing. And he's older than I am, so he's pushing 70.
mhm.
And he said, home is where mom is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what it really feels like.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
mean, I remember walking into that Florida house for the first time, having never lived there before. But I mean, it's all our stuff. It still smells like all of our other houses have smelled. It's a
Mm, mm, mm.
strange thing to say, the smell, but it is true. Um, yeah, and mom is there. So
Yeah,
what better indicator that you're at home than to see your mom?
right. Hey, we never actually talked about the title of the book or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I mean, how are we going to sell any books? People have no idea what the book's called. What's it called, and why did you pick that?
So the title of the book is going to be the Solo PCS, and I picked it because it's not only the next PCS in a lot of military teens' life, that is that journey away from the military community, that journey that you have to kind of take on your own and comes with all sorts of responsibilities that you've never really dealt with before. So that's really it. You're on your own, and it's a new type of journey. It's a new PCS for you, and you're going to be doing it at your lonesome, unfortunately, but you're going to learn a lot along the way. So can't wait to help everyone with that.
Well, I know that it's going to be a great book. I'm excited to see it. And this has to be a short podcast today. It's all the time we have. I wanted to thank you for taking, the time away from school to pop in here. And I want to thank all our listeners for tuning in. And as always, this podcast is brought to you by the Museum of the American Military Family and Learning Center. And our podcasts are supported in part by New Mexico Arts, the New Mexico Humanities Council, Sandia Area Credit Union, and organizations like Military Brats Seal and Military Brats Registry. And I know Shanon would like to thank the Kerr Foundation
Absolutely.
for all its support. Thanks, Shanon, and everyone for joining us today.
It's been a great time. I always enjoy doing these podcasts, like I said. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.